simultaneous Chandra attack, and so he's making sure that the broadcast is on YouTube, and he gets it ready to go to Cairo broadcast weekend, and then they release the podcast.
Bonjour, mon chéri.
Bonjour.
Ça va?
Oh, talking today! Yay! So exciting!
45 minutes from my house to downtown.
I live right
There
next-
were some good things about COVID, I'll just say that.
I live 9/10 of a mile from you, and I got here in 15 minutes.
Well, you speed. I follow. I stop at red lights and follow the speed limit.
Because there's so many cops.
It's amazing. It's amazing what 5 minutes can make of a difference. Yeah. All it takes is one little bumper and everybody stopped and or somebody fixing the street at the wrong time of the day.
I just hate when I make rookie mistakes. Like I see the flashing lights for the fire trucks that are backing into the fire station. I think, I could just take this street and get right around it, or I'll just sit and wait. Then there were 3 fire trucks that were trying to back in. So.
Which station?
The one right there at Holman, the turn.
Oh,
I've lived there for 30 years. I never get caught at that station.
But today they were working.
Mistake. These are from my wife. Camille.
thank you. We got a big cookie party on Monday, much to my great chagrin.
Why?
So sticky. Ugh, so sticky.
What is sticky?
Oh, she's
50 people making sugar cookies.
Oh. You find
Come
that
on, don't you have some sympathy for me?
We're all coming too.
That's ridiculous. All right,
only-
we have to stay on schedule today. We've got
50 people making cookie and the first thing you think about is how sticky it gets.
because I've done this before.
I think the first thing I think is how sweet it is. 50 people making cookies.
Jerry's in a good mood because France made the World Cup final.
All we need to do is one more time.
I never see one word about soccer in 4 years.
I've
In
never heard
4
talk
years.
about soccer before.
I don't
Then
talk
all
about
of a
sports.
sudden,
You know what? I don't talk about sport because I feel like there's a lot more interesting thing to talk about in life.
uh-huh.
And
Like sugar
because
cookies.
What is
cookies, and
this?
roasting a chicken, and things like that.
Looks like a bunny rabbit to me. Or Santa.
Oh,
Oddly enough, she pulled out her holiday cookie cutters.
okay. Let's go. Chop,
Wow.
chop, we gotta stay on schedule.
Let's go. Cell phone on
I'm done
vibrate.
playing.
Just
She's
in
so
case
bossy.
People find a way to call me when I'm doing
She
a
takes
show.
that producer title very seriously.
They never obey me.
Guys, have anything you want to chat about?
Who came up with grinding Cheetos? Who the hell comes up with that?
She loves Cheetos.
You do?
I do.
Oof.
They're
Miss,
not.
Miss Hippie restaurateur, blah, 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 veggie.
Miss Vegetarian.
Yeah.
You like Cheetos?
They're vegetarian.
What is? Oh, they're vegetarian. Yeah, I'm sure they are. What are the numbers and the name of those chemicals that are in there?
I know it's not made with any
Is that
food
vegetarian?
product whatsoever.
Welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo. It's Tom Douglas and the chef in the chapeau.
And Thierry brought you the chef in a hat and go, allez les bleus.
Go blue. For the first time in 4 years, I've heard you say that. In case you don't know what that means, Terry wants France to win the World Cup. When is it?
Sunday,
Oh.
7 a.m.
That's how I
Cup
feel
of
about
coffee
it.
in
When is
hand.
it? So people could be podcasting our show, turn the sound off on the World Cup, and listen to our show while they're
There's a
watching.
good combo.
That's a good trade-off, but still you gotta watch the game.
Whatever.
Or you could tape it if you're too lazy and then,
We
see
are
it later.
taping here today. It's Thursday morning here at the Hot Stove Society Studios in downtown Seattle in the gorgeous Hotel Andra.
Absolutely
And
gorgeous.
we are thrilled to be here. We got a nice, lively audience this morning. Have you guys have found the coffee pot, obviously, haven't they?
We gave them many coffees.
Yes, our producer Pamela is rushing us along because we have events here today at the Hot Stove. So we're going to continue and make haste with our show today.
No waste.
It will be a full 2 hours for you,
Yes, 2,
right? Because of those,
like every week.
because we have commercials.
That's right.
We have to pay the bills.
Why buy a mattress anywhere else?
Okay.
That's your future, man.
That's
I'm
what I
sure
do
they're
after
going to
dinner.
call you and want to sign you up as their spokes singer.
I'll take it.
One of our favorite bakers, a longtime employee, and now has moved on to
Hotcakes.
hotcakes over there up on Cap Hill and in Ballard. Brittany Bartolaban is going to be with us. You probably remember her talking desserts and cakes and cookies, and we're going to find out what's happening at Hotcakes. Local legend and former CEO of LaMazocco. I mean, is it Mazocco or Marzocco?
No, Marzocco.
Marzocco.
Yeah, so you misspelled here, Miss Producer. Kent Bakke is going to join us. I think it's arguable that Kent started the espresso craze in this country.
He made it better.
He made it better.
It existed, but he took
In
it up a
Seattle.
notch.
Yeah, in Seattle.
And he actually bought a coffee machine company in
That's
Europe
right, yeah.
and brought it to Ballard, of all places. Who knew?
Ballard and Florence
And
are his
So
headquarters.
he's got some thoughts on the new coffee museum. We love shrimp for fast and fancy weeknight meals. I do. I'm a sucker for shrimp.
Yeah.
And the new, I can't even say it. The new blank grinder is all the rage, but we have better ideas to bring some crunch to your dinner. I'm not even going to promote it. I'm not
The
even
word
gonna
is
say it.
Shito.
It's sold
new
out.
sheet-
Hey.
Shito grinder.
We're not promoting this.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about it.
Nobody even knows what you're talking about when you say Shito.
Exactly. That's why I said it. You didn't want to
Okay.
say it.
And then finishing the show as usual with the Rub with Love Tasty Trivia Challenge. Sometimes Pam likes to mess around with that, but today she's
Not
leaving
today.
it in place.
She looks very serious today.
Very.
I'm worried.
She knows that we have a lot of things booked here at the hot
I
stove
know.
today and
That's why.
wants us to move on. First, our taste of the week, which is something that I'm looking forward to hearing, Chef.
Lake
What
House.
are you going to make for
went-
the Le Bleu La Football?
You know, Sunday is going to be so early in the morning. 6:30 is going to be breakfast. And I'm not a big,
Are you going to like stay in country?
I think a good omelette, sauteed mushroom, a little grated cheese, some toasted, beautiful bread from across the street.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
So you
bakery
are going to
name?
stay in
What's that
country.
bakery again?
Again.
Dahlia Bakery.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm not a big, I don't do too many fancy things. Might have some bacon just because I have some in the freezer.
That's not very in country. It's
No?
hard to find bacon fumet.
Oh, no. It would be nice to have lardon, and that would be a nicer.
Lardon. Yeah.
That would be
exactly.
a nicer thing, but
No. I would argue that. It's not nicer.
it's nicer to
It's
eat.
typical French.
Yeah, but it's nicer to eat.
No, it's not.
Oh, see.
Oh, no.
Oh, but
Stop fighting.
anyway,
Oh, my God.
uh,
How can you even say that?
no, I think a little breakfast and coffee. I mean, 7 o'clock in the morning is like I said, it's not going to be a big giant spread. First of all, I'm not that enthusiastic in the morning,
If I come to your house to watch Le Game,
right?
I
make you an omelet.
you make me an omelet?
Sure.
Will you cook it? Because I know you like your omelets a little bit
No,
rare.
I will definitely make it the American way.
Okay. You
Yeah.
will cook it.
I learned both ways.
If I wanted to eat my breakfast with a straw, I would go to McDonald's.
Right.
Yeah. That's how soupy his omelets are. Ooh.
I like runny eggs.
Yes, he does.
So good.
He likes chasing them.
Yes. I like to know they're still alive.
Yeah.
And by the way, my eggs are from Alice Wong Farm, which is a dear friend all the way in Darrington, who just came this week. We had lunch together, and she brought me gorgeous farm eggs.
hmm
Thank you.
Boy, that might be worth getting up for.
I know. Those
Yeah.
are beautiful. And then
But I don't have to watch the game, right? I can listen to our show and be happy.
it would be nice if you were cheering once. I mean, you know.
Okay. All right. So what's your taste of the week?
The lake house in Bellevue, Kathy's birthday was this week,
Ah.
and we wanted something different. She wanted to, no, maybe something different. So we went on the east side, which is not, as you know, it's not customary to go to the east side for us because we have so much going on here. But I want
No,
to.
I have some restaurants here in downtown Seattle. Just
Yes, exactly.
we love Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been to your restaurant so many times. I feel old by knowing how many times I've been to your restaurant.
Yeah.
No, anyway, we went to the lake house in Bellevue, and Jason Wilson over there doing a fantastic job. And that's on the second floor in the West End. Down below, they have a place called Civil and Rest. I believe that's the name of
It's
it.
the name of the bar, right?
Bar.
It
It's
used
a
to be the
bar.
Twisted Cork, I think.
Yeah, and it's really cool. They do it's a beautiful cocktail. If you ask the bartender to get creative and do whatever you want with your favorite liquor, they really do pull out all the stops and do some very creative cocktails. And I recommend. So what we did is we went downstairs for a cocktail beforehand, and then some oysters on a half shell, and then went upstairs and had a wonderful dinner. One of the highlight was my salad. We had a salad that was really, really beautiful, fresh, crispy, well seasoned, nothing but roasted vegetable and some fresh greens, arugula, which I mean, sorry, not arugula, watercress, endive. Things that are very wintry and very seasonal, and everything was fantastic. And to me, having a beautiful salad in a restaurant is always a beautiful high mark because many restaurants don't make very good salad.
Okay.
That's
All right. Happy birthday to Kathy then.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy 39 again.
You married an older woman too, didn't just like I did, I think.
She's just she has a few more years on me. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Just checking. Our producer is older than us too. I don't know if you know that or not, but
She looks so
Bringing
young.
the wisdom.
They
it's
both look so
something that
young.
we-
Jeez.
something that we admire about her.
Yeah.
Yes. The wisdom.
We have a term in France that okay, I'm gonna say it
No,
anyway. You know the term already? No. We have a term in France. It's in the old pot. You make the best soup because it's already seasoned. And I knew that wasn't gonna go very well for the ladies.
It's in the old pot.
But
you make the best
it's a
soup.
good term. You take an
Okay.
old pot. It's seasoned already. You
Merry
want-
Christmas to you, Pamela. You old pot.
Come
you.
on, listen to this. You know how much someone.
Oh, I can't believe you even said it. My taste of the week is last night I was cooking for my Christmas boys lunch today, and so at the same time when I cook at home, I like to get other projects done like beef stock,
Oh yeah.
chicken stock,
Yeah.
just thick, viscous, really intense stocks for the freezer. Done. The beef stocks, cooked all night. Woke up this morning. The whole house.
I keep saying I'm
whole
gonna.
house.
I keep saying I'm gonna go see the butcher and buy 20 pounds of veal bones.
I
and-
just did it yesterday, as a matter of fact. All right, when we come back, it's time to cook some shrimp on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
All right. Oof. First one done. 7 more.
Boy,
Nice.
this is going to be fun, you old pot.
I had
This
to
is
say,
gonna a whole new identity.
man, the day I said that, I think my wife backed up three steps and went, "Don't say that again."
Is there a song called "The Old Pot" that we can
I'm gonna
serenade
write it.
Wait.
with Mrs. Potts? She's
No,
too
but it's-
sweet though.
you
This
have
one
to-
is not.
You have
This
to
is
look
not
at
I'm
the,
not
Mrs. Potts.
sweet.
excuse
No.
me. You have to look
Not
at the
sweet.
real meaning of the words.
Hey, Edna Mode, we have a new nickname.
There's a lot
for
of
our,
beauties in there.
the old pot.
Anyhow.
The old in the old pot, the best soups are made. Right here.
Sorta.
Come on, Annie. You gotta defend me on this one. Isn't it true?
There's no
When you have a
defense.
season walk
There's
or
no
season
defense
pot,
for what you have
isn't
just
that
done.
the best? Isn't that better
You
than a
can't
new
walk.
pot?
You can't walk this back.
I guess when you're young, an old pot is not scary. It's just when you get older, a younger pot is better. Right? Is that how it goes? Sounds good to me. All right. Let's get back in the kitchen.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
chef.
let's.
You're digging the hole a bit deeper.
My shovel is getting bigger by the
Yeah.
second. Either that or the.
All right, we're back. It's the Hot Stove Kitchen. When you walk through the seafood counter and you go in, you're looking for some wild thing, and then you walk across. Isn't it always hard to just walk by the wild prawns?
Oh yeah.
Don't do
And
it.
not buying
Buy
them.
'em.
Don't walk by it. Buy them.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't. The only thing is when I look at the shrimp case, the only thing that stops me is where are they coming from.
Yeah, you have to think about that.
First thing I ask is where is this from? How is it done? And because I'm very conscientious of that. I mean, as you are, it's like I just want to make sure that I'm not buying something from a place where they don't care about how to do it.
Yeah, and they're ruining the
the environment,
mangroves and things like
and,
that.
and the
Absolutely.
whole
So
country.
wild Gulf of Mexico prawns generally
Correct.
are a good option. But Monterey Bay Aquarium's Safe Seafood Watch is a good
And
place to
spot
figure
prawn,
it
if
out.
you can put your hands on Sam.
Yeah, local spot prawns.
Local spot prawn. I mean, that is double whammy on that one.
You know, my wife loves those. We go to sushi bars, and some of the sushi bars actually have aquariums where
Right.
they keep
Live.
the live spot prawns on the counter. And when you kill a spot prawn, or when you catch it, you have to kill it right away
Right.
or keep it alive.
Right.
And so at the sushi bar, they'll take the head off, and they'll give you the raw ebi or
Still
prawn,
moving.
right? And yeah, it is. That's the movement to it. But then they take the heads and they deep fry them. That's my wife's favorite on a
Oh,
prawn.
so
is
good.
The deep fried shrimp heads. Pamela's, the old pot over here is just freaking out right now. They get very crunchy. I'll just say.
I like crunch.
I like crunch. Yeah. But hey,
I
you
never
old
called
pot.
her that. I never called her that.
You did. You just
I said
did.
it was a term in France.
Oh my God. Anyway, so certainly local spot prawns, but wild Gulf of Mexico prawns are a really
Sure.
good option. Now you're there. Now you have a choice, right? Prawns are sold in different sizes. Typically, they could go anywhere from like the little bay shrimp are like 150 to a pound, or
Right.
something like
Or
that,
maybe even
200
more,
to a
yeah.
pound, and then they go all the way up to. You'll see them sized, and I always buy the ones kind of in that 16 to 20.
Right.
And they're called 1620s, right? Which means that there's on average 18 to a pound.
Right.
And that's how you kind of figure out how many prawns to buy.
Right.
So what are you going to do with them? They're there. I like to buy them shell on.
Well, there is one thing I always said is if you're single and you don't have a big kitchen, you should always have some shrimp in the freezer, a can of tomato, whole tomato in the cupboard, some pasta, and the day of you buy some fresh garlic and some basil. And
The day of what? When
The
you're not
day of-
single anymore?
the day of you have somebody coming over.
Oh.
And don't forget that bottle of champagne in the fridge too, because
So you're saying you can't lose with a
you can't
shrimp
lose
pasta
with shrimp, garlic, basil, tomato,
Tomato.
and pasta.
and champagne
I mean, and champagne, of course.
and
So-
an old pot to cook it in.
Hey, you know what? A seasoned pot is always better.
Mhm.
I won't use the word old. What do you say old for?
Okay, and so you just quick sear the prawns. You
Quick
gotta
poof.
get your water going ahead of time because
Correct.
it takes much longer to cook the pasta
I would cook the
than
pasta
it
first.
does the shrimp.
Correct. The shrimp is only a matter of a few minutes. So, I would boil the water. As soon as you put the pasta in, your pan is hot. You sear your spot prawn. I would remove the spot prawn right off the bat as soon as they're seared because they cook really fast and they're going to keep cooking later on. And you'll see that. Put them on the side. Take your garlic, a little bit of olive oil. Fry your garlic gently and then add your tomato diced. Put it in there. Put a little bit of the tomato juice that you have in the can. A dash of white wine. I like to add a little white wine to that. Cook it. It's going to cook very fast, very quickly. Reduce it down. Put your shrimp back in, your chopped basil. Put that pasta right mix into it after it's drained with a little bit of that water. Put the whole thing together. Let it cook a little bit in that juice just so the pasta gets imbibed with that. Put the whole thing in the bowl. Grate some beautiful Parmesan right on top of that. And if she leaves, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
If
a
he
couple of
leaves,
things
if he leaves, he don't know nothing.
There's a couple of things you've done there which I find fascinating, knowing you for 30 some years now. One is that you just cooked an Italian dish.
I'm sorry, this is a
No, this
word
is not.
dish.
This is an Italian dish. So there's that. And
You know,
then you've
Italians-
also put.
Italians don't do
Then there's
everything
also
wrong.
something that you've always chastised me about, which is putting cheese with seafood.
I
Well,
know that was a
So
surprise.
it's like I feel.
Hold on.
No. There's no holding. You've exposed yourself, both in your disdain for Pamela as an old pot and your love for Italian cooking, which you've always denied.
This is a story of want the other person to leave. The cheese is kind of like it's an American thing to put cheese on things at the end of them, So I want to bet on the sure thing. I will give all the assets on my side. I will grate the cheese on top of it.
Okay, there we go. There's you'll compromise on a date.
I will compromise, absolutely.
All right. So when I'm looking at the shrimp in the
I'll even
marketplace,
put ground paper everywhere.
when I'm looking at the shrimp in the case,
Yeah.
So you'll have a lot of choices. You can see the Argentine red shrimp. You
Sure.
can see the Ecuador shrimp, which is a little bit like the wild Mexican prawns or the green shrimp. It's the black tigers that I have to avoid because of the way they're farmed in Indonesia and Vietnam and
Correct.
Thailand and things like that. So now I've bought my shrimp shell on, shell off. I tend to I try to buy them shell on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I've got my whole shrimp. What do I do from there? Now, a lot of people think that I'm going to butterfly them. So if you put, all the what we call the feet or the little fins on the bottom, that's the belly of the shrimp,
Correct.
right? On the back side where it's arched,
right,
where there's nothing but shell, that's the back side of the shrimp. So I want to put the shrimp on my counter, slice it down through the back side of the shrimp.
Sure.
And then, as people always tell me in my classes here at the Hot Stove, what do you do with the vein?
It's called the vein.
It's called the vein. It's an American thing.
It's preferable to take it out.
Well, it's not a vein. It's the poop chute. Line. It's the poop chute, right?
The poop line.
Right. And so when that dark line that you see in there is the poop chute. And what's important about taking that out?
Well, you probably won't get any sickness of any kind if you keep it in. You might get sick.
No, I don't think you'll get sick.
Well, it depends.
I'm going to cut to the chase. The important part about that is shrimp are bottom feeders. So in that poop chute is often a bunch of sand.
Right.
And so if you leave that in, you might get a sandy bite in your shrimp.
Yes.
Because once you boil them and cook them, you're not going to get sick.
True. Once you cook them, no.
Yeah. So get that out of there, and now you've got a prepped prawn. Okay.
Shell on butterfly.
Shell on butterfly. I'm making some today for the Christmas Boys lunch, which is an annual tradition for myself and a bunch of guys. There's 10 of us. But I'm using my new taco spice. I'm going to rub the shrimp,
right,
and then I'm going to saute them in tons of butter in the wood oven. I'm roast them in tons of butter in the wood oven with the taco spice, which is very citrusy, mild chili.
Yeah, no, it's
tons
totally
of butter and whole limes. And then we're going to pull them out. And then the important part about that is, like when you do a barbecue shrimp, is that you have to leave the shell on, pick up the shrimp, leave the shell on, and suck all the juice off.
That's right.
Right? I mean, just put the whole thing in your mouth and suck it clean. Right? Then you pull it out, you take the shell off, and then you redouble dip into the butter. And then you finish the shrimp, right? You can't do one without the other, or you're inhumane.
Right. And if you don't want to saute them, you could actually put them on a sheet pan, the butter in each one of them.
No.
And brush it right nicely on top and bake it under the broiler.
That's why, you could. Yeah, that's I didn't tell you how to cook your shrimp other than point out the obvious challenges to your reputation of cooking Italian and putting cheese with pasta.
Obviously, my reputation.
Don't tell me how to cook my
down the toilet.
Spice. Yes, exactly. All right, it's time.
What a day!
It's time for Ken Bakke is going to join us. Yes.
No. We gotta
crunch.
We
gotta try this grinder.
Okay, it's time for the secret crunch factor, which I refuse to say here on the air because we are an upstanding show. When we come back, find out what that is. Bring in the crunch on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Can you believe we've been friends for 40 years? It's amazing. Very tasty. And you can see when Sean comes, he's trying to get him to stay in time with the segment. So he's giving him the countdown for the minutes left.
No, it's when we get violent. He goes, peace, man. Take it easy.
Yeah. We don't mess around. We know our numbers. Are you going to continue chatting, Pam, or should we get going with the show?
Let's keep going.
You'll pot you.
Oh my God. I'm gonna
Annie, what do we have for breakfast? A Pop-Tart? Looks like a Pop-Tart.
Smells good.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do it.
In the Hot Stove Kitchen, we're going to talk about some crunch, and I have to have our producer kind of introduce this segment because, much to my amazement, considering her veggie background, her veggie forward nature, her love of a rainbow platter, a rainbow of vegetables on every dinner, on every plate, she has a secret. And I'm not sure I want to be the one to expose it because it's a lifelong issue. It's much worse than the old pot that you called her earlier. It is
Or is it?
something you just would not expect from our producer. So, Pamela, let's talk about bringing the crunch. And how do you do it in your life?
Well, there was a confluence of two subjects
Mhm.
colliding this week. I look at the food
I love
news.
when you use those big words.
Multiple food news sources, and Food and Wine caught my attention this week because they had a big segment on the Cheetos dust maker, a Cheetos grinder. They did a partnership with Amazon
they need to sell them?
Yep. And they're all
Who
sold
did the
out.
partnership?
Cheetos.
And Food and Wine?
No.
Oh,
Food
Cheetos
Wine-
and Amazon. Yeah.
Cheetos and Amazon. So it was a whole series of recipes of how to turn your Cheetos into dust to make coatings, crunchy coatings for food, which I was thinking about because I was trying to write up the chicken class that you were doing, and it said wet Southern chicken. And I'm like, who wants wet chicken? So I was looking up what the heck that could be.
I mean, I love the
And-
interpretation of that.
and I went down the rabbit hole of how you marinate the chicken and then put your batter on it, your crunch, and then you need to chill it. And I was thinking,
I'm still waiting for the transition
I'm trying to
Cheetos
find
here.
where the
so I was thinking about all the ways that you can make crunch.
Mhm.
Because like if I don't have something with some real tooth on it, my husband's like, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
So it's got to have some nuts or some crispiness or some croutons or some sort of batter to
you
bring
just named all the
crunch.
things and you can grind and make crunchy with. What was the problem with that?
So first, I want to know what you think about the Cheeto grinder. Are you going to buy one? And then second,
I've already
You
ordered
said
are-
they're sold out, thankfully.
second, what are your recommendations for crispy coatings and batters?
Phew. So let's back up for 1 second. Why did the wet chicken gross you out? Because it sounds terrible?
Yeah.
It's
What
just-
is it?
Well, it's just it's a batter fried chicken instead of a dredged floured chicken. So you know how a lot of times when you make fried chicken, you dip it, you marinate in buttermilk, and then you dip it in like a flour mixture. I usually use masa harina, AP flour, maybe a little cornmeal, fine cornmeal, something like that. And that's a dry dredge.
And that creates a
So
crust.
a wet chicken, fried chicken, is literally the same kind of maybe marinade on the chicken, but then it's dipped in a batter and fried. So you've heard of beer batters before.
Yeah,
It's
no, that's
similar
the word
in
I was
nature.
looking for to write it up for the website.
Oh, you didn't like the wet chicken?
Yeah, I wasn't going to put wet chicken on the.
Oh, people.
Does anybody know what wet chicken is? Oh.
But it's intriguing, so you want to come to class.
Either that or you go, I'm going to wait till they dry it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all that is. So,
Okay.
uh,
That
so
clears
the
one
fact
thing
that
up.
you got from my delicious sounding chicken class to a
To
Cheeto
grinder.
Cheeto grinder
Yeah, I mean, I
is
think
really sad for
because
me.
they were doing chicken.
What,
with
what
it.
happened to my old friend?
They were doing a spicy chicken with the Cheeto dust.
well, if the only thing you have left in your kitchen to grind is Cheeto, I'm coming
bigger
I'm coming
problems.
to your
Yeah.
home and really we're going to start with ABCs of what you should have in your pantry.
Yeah, we have bigger problems.
Because
Okay, chef, let's drop that and let's teach her give her a new opportunity for crunchiness in her
Yes,
dinner.
well, I mean, the first thing is then I can think of being French is of course bread. You get a baguette or you get some old bread. It doesn't have to be old; it can be fresh too.
Yeah, let's not do old bread.
Well, you can have bread in the freezer, for example. That's not old,
So
but that's
frozen.
just stored away.
Yeah.
And you can use that opportunity to take it out and roast it and give it a nice crunch, dry it up, and then chop it down to a very fine dust and use that as a crunch.
So what do the French make crispy? I'm thinking like chicken cordon bleu or something like that. What
Right.
you don't see very
Like
much
if you do
breaded, crunchy stuff in French.
Veal scallopini gets breaded.
Okay.
We do chicken breast can get breaded. We have different batter. We have anglaise, which is traditional eggs, milk, and breadcrumb. I mean,
Hmm.
and you also have just breadcrumb or things.
I'm
things
just
that
saying, when I go to French, you rarely see anything
No,
like
no,
that
no,
on the menu.
we
Whereas
don't-
in Italy, you see veal milanese,
Right.
all that. In Austria, same thing.
Well, strangely
Schnitzel.
enough, in France, the veal scallopini I was telling you about is veal milanese,
Oh, is it?
and then veal viennoise.
yeah. Exactly.
So they're both from.
So it's
different
just not a
countries.
natural French
It's not a
dish.
natural thing
Yeah.
to bread and to deep fry. In terms of meat itself, it's not very. We don't have like fried chicken. Now we do, but it wasn't a traditional dish. We reserved that for the Brits, and because we mocked them so hardly for so many years, I think we just were ashamed to do the same thing, even
Mhm.
though fried chicken can be delicious.
Yeah, exactly. And in my kitchen, for crispiness in cooking, I can't think of anything outside of the schnitzel or something like that. I love a
Right.
good schnitzel, but typically in the growing up days, tuna noodle casserole always had potato chips on top, right?
Yeah.
And then you saw a lot of things with cornflakes,
Yeah.
which is not unlike
Oh.
what Cheetos are. Cheetos are a corn process, right? But they've added dried cheese powder to it and many colorful chemicals,
Mhm.
Dried oats.
which is why your hair is the color it is, because you eat a lot of Cheetos. Um, but it's the same idea with cornflakes. You can grind them up and make a crust from the
And you can
cereal
use,
that it is.
like if you have dry biscuits, dry crackers, you can also take those and grind them.
The saltines or
Yeah,
Saltine,
or
that's a good idea.
beaches crackers. That'd be an expensive breadcrumb. But
so the French thing that I can think of that is crispy are croquettes.
yeah, croquettes and gratin, and that's where we use
Gratin?
breadcrumb. We use breadcrumb on gratin,
Oh,
like
never seen
parmentier
that.
and
Mhm,
stuff like that.
mhm.
Yeah, you put cheese in the middle and
How do you make
breadcrumb.
a croquette?
Croquette is a pomme duchesse. It's kind of like a pomme duchesse. So it's mashed potato, eggs added together,
Is there a traditional filling before you do all that, or just
No,
the potatoes?
just a potato, and then you roll them in flour, eggs, flour, and breadcrumb,
Uh-huh.
and then you fry it.
Okay.
And when I was
Nothing like deep fried mashed potatoes.
when I was an apprentice, that was my job every Sunday morning to make a whole bunch of it.
And then you put them in the freezer?
No,
You were working on a
just for the
coal-fired
day of.
stove. How?
Oh no, we were working on a coal stove.
So I said a coal-fired stove.
Yeah, coal
Yeah.
fire. Yeah. No, that was really cool. But we had the deep fryer,
Hmm.
and I never forget the day that the other apprentice threw water on it
On the deep fryer?
because it was fire coming out of the fryer,
Uh-huh.
and I just went
Dangerous.
"No!" and he just
Did it burn you?
the thing went up 10 feet in the air, and no, it didn't burn me, but I was far enough. But
Yeah,
needless
you don't
to
want to
say,
put water on a hot grease fire.
so last thing you want to do is throw water on a grease fire. The best thing you can do is try to
Run away!
get rid of the oxygen. So put something on top of it to cover it completely, or throw in a bunch of flour on it, which will soak up the first grease that's on
Flour,
top and the
baking
flour.
soda. There's
Yeah.
a few things you can put on top. Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's
that's
turn to vegetables and crispy coating if you were going to roast them. I've seen people rely on cheese a lot, like a Parmesan crust.
Uh-huh. I'm not sure that I would consider that a coating rather than an accent.
Ah,
Or, they make those really delicious. You can see them at the marketplaces on the deli counters, or you take a cookie sheet and you put grated Asiago, or you put
Yeah.
grated Parm, and you make your own crisp
Right.
out of those. I could
Right.
see garnishing roasted vegetables with a crumble of
of the crisp.
those baked cheese crisp. I think would be pretty darn tasty.
But keep the Doritos out of the kitchen, for Christ's sake.
No, chef, they're Cheetos.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cheetos. I'm sorry, same section as far as I'm concerned. The section I never go shopping in.
And what can we finish with a nut crust?
A hazelnut.
Yeah.
If I would make a crust, hazelnut is a beautiful, beautiful flavor to me. It's a flavor I really like, especially if you add some chopped parsley, a little bit of olive oil, and put that on top of.
What are you breading?
sorry?
What are you breading with them?
I could
Yeah.
be breading anything. but,
Fish, chicken.
she was talking about vegetables, and what I can think about is parsnip, shaves parsnip, then you put onto a pan, salt, pepper, a little bit of butter because you must, and then put that shaving that topping on top of that, and put the whole thing in the oven. 20 minutes, you get some beautiful baked parsnip, and it's really delicious.
I'm going to make that and report back.
Yeah, you like the nut crust. They're a
I
little
do.
heavy for me.
oh,
it's
right.
not
If,
my
if
favorite.
that doesn't beat your Cheetos, I don't know what will.
Hazelnuts for the win.
I cannot believe our
And by the way, I'm
producer-
sure you already have a grater in your house that will work with the Cheetos.
All right, next up, we're going to welcome the king of espresso. Kent Bakke is going to join us here in the hot stove kitchen on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
Cheeto. Woo. It does what?
Ah. That's why they're running out of water.
Yeah, because they're so hot and spicy. They need to drink a lot of it. No, I mean, I think Cheeto is a treat, like a bad treat. So it shouldn't be put into your food. Right. Staying for life.
Yo, Bakke, what's going on?
What are you doing?
Yeah, right here. Chair of honor.
He's getting. What happened? Air conditioning?
Don't know.
Whew.
How's your life?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. No complaints. Every morning you get out of bed is a good morning, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the mic there, buddy. Nice butt.
Some things never change.
They're very feisty today.
Oh, feisty.
So
I'll try to be on my best behavior and not contribute to the chaos.
I like it. I think it makes good radio.
Kent, are you watching the games?
No,
You can't find anybody to talk to about it.
I'm sorry.
Do you ever watch the game?
No,
No. Not a soccer fan.
I'm not a sports fan in general. So
I'm not really too much of a sports fan either, but
I mean, we're just learning that you watch.
didn't know we had an
I knew it
audience.
4 years ago, but I hadn't heard about it since. You know, France is now a defending champion. 2 in a row would be very, it's very unlikely, but it's also very
did you
big
say
deal.
unlikely?
It doesn't happen very often.
No, it's unlikely to win, yes, but it's not unlikely that France will
It's
win.
unusual, I should say. It's very unusual.
Yes. Both teams that are playing are looking for their third star.
France is looking for
Their third star, which is
looking the best of the groups.
it's looking good, but never count the skin
How's your
of the bear.
breakfast team? Delicious. All right. Ready, set?
We're ready, set.
All right. You know, we're loving here the hot stove kitchen. The energy in the room is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to join this fabulous crowd, well, not this crowd, but if you want to be part of the fabulous crowd, be part of the cool people, and come see the old pot run the show, you can join us. Go to hotstovesociety.com and buy a ticket. Cheapskate, buy a ticket, $25. Get your breakfast, get your coffee,
Get us.
glass of water.
Get us.
And get you the chef in the chapeau all dolled up
And
in this
Tom
blue
Douglas.
scarf because La France.
Vive la France.
Vive la France. Is,
Allez les Bleus.
you know, this week at this time next week, we will know the outcome.
Yeah, we'll be partying all week.
You'll be partying all week. Okay.
I hope so.
Regardless.
For you.
Regardless.
All right. We've let a wild animal in the room. His name is Kent Bakke. Bakke. You like Bakke or Bakke?
Well, in California, when I grew up, it was Bakke, and here it's Bakke. But Tom, you can call me whatever you want.
Bakke sounds so much more European. Welcome to the show. We are longtime acquaintances and friends, and you are the mystery man behind espresso in Seattle, I would say, not by your own doing. It's just that Starbucks kind of took over the oxygen in the room, so to speak, when it comes to espresso around our country. But you are instrumental in making that happen. So can you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got started in the espresso world, and how it ended up in Ballard, for God's sake? Who knew that an Italian company would end up in Ballard?
Well, first of all, thank you, Tom and Terry, for inviting me to this fabulous event. Tom and I go way back. I was just trying to remember how long it's been since we met. But
Probably older than God.
Exactly. Well, I was born in Wisconsin to a nice Scandinavian family, and
Espresso makes perfect sense then.
yeah, of course. My parents were a
It's
great
the
coffee
aquavit that
drinkers.
goes with it.
My parents drank a lot of coffee. Supposedly, my mom tells me that when I was very small, people would come over for pie and coffee, and I would finish whatever was left in the cup of coffee. It was probably mostly cream. But grew up in California, came up to Seattle to go to Seattle Pacific College in 1970, graduated in 74, did some odd jobs, and ended up at a place called the Turbulent Turtle. Do you remember the Turbulent Turtle?
I don't. I remember the Allegro over in the University bookstore parking lot.
Right. Well, the Turbulent Turtle was a hamburger stand, a gourmet hamburger stand before its time.
Gourmet.
And out on Shilshole. It was just a takeout stand.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And anyway, working there, and they had the owners had two daughters that I became friends with, and one of the sets of daughters and husband. We thought we were smarter than these old people, and so we were going to open our own place, and we ended up acquiring a defunct soup and sandwich shop in Pioneer Square that was originally, this was in 76. It was called the Pioneer Trading Company restaurant, and it had an espresso machine in it. And I'd never seen an espresso machine, or if I had, I didn't know what it was. But I thought it looked like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I was not a coffee drinker at the time, but I liked mechanical things, and so I kind of started to tinker around with it to keep it going. And anyway, the first partnership, we went our separate ways, and then a man and woman, Asa Braun and Barbara Duma, and Barbara was a chef in town, and we got together and opened this place, or continued to run the place. And at one point, we were going around Seattle, and I was pretending to be a espresso machine technician. Not a lot of competition to tell me that. People to tell me
only 3 machines and no competition.
there was maybe only 8 machines in town at the
I was
time.
close. I was close.
Wow.
And I knew nothing about it, but I knew a little more than nothing, but not enough to have any competition. So anyway, at some point, Asa said, well, if you can work on them, we should go to Italy. And this was 78, like, far out, man. Let's go to Italy. By the way, we did stop in Paris, and we went to Sangria Bleu.
Oh, yeah.
And why they let us in, I'll never know, other than they were dumbfounded that we would even try to get in. But that's another story. So I went to Italy in 78 and met LaMazocco and another company called CMA, and came back to Seattle with the opportunity to sell machines. And I always say it only took a year to sell the first machine. And at that point, I thought, well, we sold something. We must be in business. And so that was the start.
Wow. And at the same time, we could have crossed paths, because at the same time, I was now in 1980 or 79 stopping at the Good Coffee Company on my way to work on Bainbridge Island and bringing the coffee over with me on the ferry from the Good Coffee Company, which was just north of Pioneer Square. I wouldn't really call it Pioneer Square, but on Post Alley there. You went in there,
Yes,
I'm sure.
I used to buy coffee from him when we had Hibble. We renamed the soup and sandwich shop in Pioneer Square Hibble and Hides. I
Uh-huh.
forgot to include that part.
Oh, even harder
So-
than before.
Yeah, actually, Joe Cote was already had a LaMazocco in his place, so I kind of usurped the importation of that. But
Huh.
anyway, he's a unsung hero.
Of the coffee scene. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I
yeah.
think so. That was what a crazy little shop that was down there. Okay, so now you've got Hibble and Hyde, and you have the license to sell these LaMazocco machines. Which, by the way, in case you're an espresso drinker or coffee drinker, and you don't really look around, if you go into 80% of the espresso shops here, and certainly you could tell us even more about the world now, they're LaMazocco machines. You started the craze.
Well, it was the late 70s, and there was a lot of things. You know how one good idea seeds not only one person, but it was kind of for the food scene, Seattle was starting to wake up, and food in America, I think, was starting to wake up. So there was a lot of movement, people having gone to Europe, had some good food, good coffee, coming back, looking for something to do. And so I think it was a collective effort. And we certainly weren't the first people to import espresso machines in the United States. But, and at the same time, there were two other importers starting up in Seattle. One was Starbucks. They started importing machines, or they were purchasing them. But it was kind of weird that we all started, within a year of each other. But that's how things happen.
And so you bought this LaMazocco out of Italy, and you brought them to Ballard? You brought the company to Ballard?
Let's see. I think we were working out of our basement up in northern Ballard, up in Loyal Heights. But anyway, so I had this cafe, and we'd opened another restaurant. And as much as I love the restaurant business, I was not good at it. So I admire anybody that's been successful. I say that sincerely, but I really like the machine side of thing. And so we sold Hibble and Hides, and I thought, and that partnership kind of dispersed, and I was on my own. And so I decided I'd try this out for 6 months, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about finding a spot and creating a coffee museum right here.
And
in
how
Seattle.
one can buy one for home.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
Are you going to buy one?
Sell one today.
I know.
Kent will
I'm
give you a
trying to.
commission.
That'd be great.
I like pour over. I'm a pour over guy.
Me too. But sometimes I like an espresso. I mean, there's a time for everything in life.
Mm-hmm. You know when I like an espresso is when Kent's making it.
Yes.
'Cause
So we bring Kent
I've
with
tried the
machine.
home espresso machines, and I am terrible. I can't sharpen a knife, and I can't make a decent espresso.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we should be back on that.
All right, when we come back, it's Kent Bakke from LaMazocco Espresso on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Do I remember correctly at one of the restaurants you had a name what you want?
Yes.
Is that an accurate memory?
Yeah, that was
A marketing ploy.
So we had opened. There's a restaurant still by Green Lake called Rosita's,
Mm-hmm.
and Asa Braun, he found this space, and we opened a seafood and vegetarian restaurant. And it just had a cash register, and the idea was you pay what you felt. Now the liquor board didn't like that. They didn't want to give us a wine and beer license until we put prices on the menu. And it worked for a while, and then even though it was, late 70s, still people started abusing it. And so, but it was fun.
Counting on the kindness of people did not work. Go figure this thing out.
Didn't work with the state of Washington liquor board.
I didn't remember that the liquor board got involved.
They used to be much more involved than they are now.
Yeah,
so.
they're overwhelmed.
Yeah. All right, here we are. It's the Hot Stove Society Kitchen on Cairo Radio. Everyone's eating breakfast. Hopefully they don't take a nap. We're going to continue our conversation with Kent Bakke
We have a
from
long hour.
LaMazocco Espresso.
We have a long second hour here.
Exactly. Kent, you have a dream. Tell us about your dream.
Oh, well, I had a dream of opening a espresso machine museum.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was starting to collect, but one of my second or third trips to Italy, I happened to find an old LaMazocco, and I gave it to the factory, the LaMazocco factory, because they hadn't nothing of their history.
Mm-hmm.
And then every so often you'd see something interesting, and oh, well, that's kind of cool. And at some point, probably 10 years later, I go, oh, I sort of have a collection. Maybe someday I can open a museum. So it took it was a long journey, but about 5 years ago, I bought a building in Ballard because it was available, which is how it got to be in Ballard. Plus, the LaMazocco USA office is in Ballard, and there's a lot of strong connection to coffee and Scandinavians in Ballard, less so than used to be. But anyway, and originally it was just to store stuff. I thought I would get a bigger building, but as the price of real estate has gone up in Seattle, it became less and less of a possibility. So we remodeled the building, and I have my collection stored there, as well as a small space for a museum. And so it hasn't officially launched, but it's open by appointment, but we don't have a website. There's no way to make an appointment, but we're happy. We would happy to host anyone who wants
I'm
to
starting
come
to
by.
understand why it took you a year to sell the first machine.
Yeah. So do you just knock on the door and hope for the best?
It was
or-
the 70s. I mean, like, I
Things
get up
seems-
in the morning. Let's see, what am I doing today? Like,
Seems like
maybe
70
I'll go back to sleep.
50 years later, you're singing the same song. You don't have a website or doorbell
Oh.
to ring. If you want to come by, I don't know how you do it.
Old habits die hard.
No, of course.
What's
I think
the
it's
name
beautiful.
of it? Are you naming the museum?
It's the Bakke Coffee Collection, or
Eh.
Coffee Museum, and it's not because I'm egoist, but my parents
Sure sounds like it.
my parents introduced me to coffee, and it's a part of the strong Scandinavian culture to drink coffee. And the Bakke name is dying out because I don't have any. None of our heirs have our last name, so I thought, let's preserve a little something for the family.
Good for you.
And did I hear that some of your electric vehicles are in the museum as well? Since you were early adapter, I think the first person to have an electric car in Seattle.
Almost, maybe. Yeah, electric cars are one of my hobbies, but I had to get another space because there wasn't room for both things in the building. So we've moved that out of the museum. Just focus on.
But
an
this is
espresso
how you
machine.
find it. If you're driving through Ballard, look for a beautiful little building, brick building, and it has 3 Teslas and a Rivian parked out front. You say, oh, that must be a coffee museum.
You go, must be a Tesla museum.
Incognito.
Yeah. So that's how you find it. We'll have to make an adventure out there.
I'd love to. But can we talk for a moment about the effect of the machine on a barista? And how much of a great espresso is the result of the machine versus the touch of a barista? Because I encounter wildly differing results. So the great machine, what's the most important factor? The person or the machine?
Well, there's the
Or the
Italians.
coffee?
The Italians say they call it the 4 M's. So I'll say it in-
Machina.
Yeah, macchina, mano, miscela, and there's a fourth one. So anyway, the machine, the hand of the barista, the blend, and it should be
The Madonna. It's got to be the
The
Madonna.
water, the water, the water.
Got to
I'm
have a
embarrassed to say, I can't
spiritual
remember.
overlook.
And
on
water's
your
very
shoulder.
important too. but-
Yeah.
So all those things are pretty critical. The grinder often gets overlooked, but the grinder in terms of the machinery is as equally important, if not more so, than the espresso
I
machine.
know that's been a big part of your teaching is the grinder.
And of course, you can't make espresso without coffee, so that's a pretty critical component. And the barista, the person behind it, and their intention and their knowledge and their desire.
So,
So-
would you say an espresso machine is like anything else that's mechanical? It takes a few trials to get the real relationship between the man and the machine, or the woman and the machine kind of idea, where you have to use it a few times to really understand, and that's when the barista comes in as far as like the relationship that makes the perfect coffee eventually.
Yes, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not a chef, but I mean, obviously, a knife is a pretty important thing. You can
Right.
use a dull knife, but a sharp knife, a good blade, and the right balance is certainly critical, as well as the cooking surface.
Hmm.
So, yeah, ideally, the barista will develop a relationship with the machine and understanding it's how it works in terms of in the barista's hands, along with the grinder.
Right.
And then the coffee is unique in that it changes all the time.
Right.
So you really have to be on top of
It's
it.
a
You
live
have to
product,
be aware
yeah.
of it.
You know, espresso machines have become much more mechanical these days. You can press a button and get yourself a latte at some cafeteria, corporate office. Where do you live in the world of automation when it comes to espresso machines? If you're buying one, say at Sur La Table or Williams Sonoma or something like that for your home, where do you
Or La
or
Marzocco.
La Marzocco has a home model too? That's a price commitment of what, $5,000 or something like that, right?
At least, yes.
At least, yeah. So where do you stand on automation and a great cup of coffee?
Well, early on in my career, I was very interested in some of the early automated machines. And so I've kind of followed that segment along. And for home, for people who aren't a barista or have the training or the time and the patience, whatever works best for the individual is the most important. It takes some dedication to learn even a good home machine. It still takes some dedication on the part of the person at home. So pushing a button and getting at least a fresh cup of coffee is not a bad thing.
You're,
I agree.
you're a generous soul.
Yeah.
No, I'm practical.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all the Starbucks machines are all push button now, and
Well,
so-
there's a great conundrum. How do you make coffee before you've had coffee?
Right.
So if you can
It's
push
a
a button and
catch-22,
get started,
yeah.
go for
So
it.
second cup, go for the gold.
Go for the elegance.
I like that.
Exactly.
How do you make a cup of coffee? That's a good saying. I like it.
Well, I had a cup of coffee yesterday, a surprising cup of coffee from the Shell station on Elliott yesterday. I had not had a cup of coffee yet in the morning. Was up late for a meeting, so I had to run. And then I was filling my tank and I had my coffee. It was a delight. So sometimes it's not the coffee, it's the need for coffee that dictates whether that's a good cup of coffee or not. So.
I think it's, yeah, the thirst of the guy who's been walking in the desert.
So, Kent, if somebody wants to look at your machines online, just lamarzocco.com.
Yeah, I think it's home. Yes, you can just go to LaMazocco.com. And then if you're in the US, I think it's home.lamarzocco.usa.com.
Yeah, it's exhilarating to look at and dream about having one of those in your kitchen. It's like, oh God,
That would look
if I
so
was a
good on my
bazillionaire, that's
counter.
what I would do. Okay, thank you, Kent Bakke, for joining us.
Thank
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck
you very much.
on the museum.
Yeah, exactly. Brittany Bartolome, an old pal of the show, is going to join us next on Cairo. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Any questions for Ken before we let him go?
You can probably buy just install new
New blade.
burrs on
Yeah,
it,
new
can't
burrs,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, rather than buy a whole new deal. Yeah. I bought a $300 grinder because somebody from what's the name of that coffee company that we had on here?
Yeah,
No,
no, it was
Vita.
Vita.
And Pamela bought one too, a $300 grinder. I used it once, and it's not for me. I like my old $20 Krups.
The burr grinder is the answer.
The burr grinder is the answer, according to Pamela. Bartolabin
Is in the house.
Ken, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for the tribute. Good luck on the music.
I'm not sure if you guys still do the prizes at the end of Tasty Trivia.
Whoa.
Yeah, that one's a good one. It's my favorite.
I think maybe we should.
Yeah, let's do it. Sure. Yeah. 100%. Let's do it.
I'll set it up.
Okay,
after.
sounds good.
If you'll do this segment
Yeah.
first, and then
Yeah.
I'll open up and.
Okay, love it. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, do you need better light?
What if we?
Hello.
So for those of you who don't know, Brittany was a chef for us for 8 or 10 years at Dahlia Bakery.
What you got, girl?
Some sauce.
Sauce.
Am I here or here?
You're right
Yeah.
there.
Sweet sauce.
Yeah.
You know the deal, Bartolabin. Bring that mic up to your
It's been a year and a half
face.
since I've been here. I'm a little rusty.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Bring that mic up to your face a little bit. There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Where are you gonna put it?
Oh my God, Lisa! Lisa is in the audience, who was the pastry chef at Crow and hired me years and years ago.
How many years
past
ago?
life.
Holy smokers.
Right. So she hired me 2007, I believe.
It's only
Been a
20
while.
years
It's only
ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
No, almost 20.
15.
Everything you say, every time I think 10, it's at least 15.
I know. You're like 10 years ago. That was 2002.
Oh,
right?
it's got to be
Yeah,
at least,
yeah.
yeah, at least 10. And
Yeah.
everybody is like,
Yeah.
no, it's 15. So what are we talking about?
All right, we got a lot of excitement happening here at the hot stove today. It's adventures. We have classes coming in. We're here doing our show. The audience is abuzz after their breakfast. And maybe it's also because Miss Brittany Bartolabin is in the house.
That's
In
right.
the house. Hello.
In the house.
Brittany is here.
If you might remember her voice from this show many times. She's been on when she was head pastry chef at the Dahlia Bakery. She has left us because apparently we suck. She's left us to go
That's
to hot
only half of it.
She's at Hotcakes now, which is your main kitchen is in Ballard, right?
We have two kitchens. Neither of them are the main kitchen. They're
Oh,
each their
okay.
own
You
entity.
just go back
So
there.
we've got Capitol Hill and Ballard, and a third location opening sometime in 2023
Good.
in Soto Urban Works. So
Okay.
that was going to be just our production facility, and it's turned out to be a super cool location. So we're going to do a
Oh.
third shop there as well.
Nice.
So
Cool.
surrounded by wineries. What more could you want?
I don't know
I
if you
know.
know this or
Chocolate.
not, but I was one of the original investors.
I did
in the
know
Hotcakes.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. They have since sold. I don't know who the new
Kevin
owner.
and Karamia purchased the business in November of 2020. Autumn had built this amazing company and brand, but then she had a baby, and
Yeah.
this brand was ready to launch, and she was also started up Frankie and Joe's, the plant-based ice cream company here in
Mhm.
Seattle, and wanted to focus her efforts on that shop and her new family, and was looking for some owners who were going to, keep the spirit of the business alive, but be willing to grow it. So that's where Kevin and Kara entered in, and they had years in e-commerce, and there's really great business minds and super fun to work for. So
Good.
yeah.
All right. As fun as us? No, don't break my
Fun
heart.
in a different
don't
way.
break
Yeah.
my heart.
No, I would never. No, they love good food, good wine. So yeah.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you brought today and where.
I brought one of each of our line of sauces that we carry. These sauces are all available with desserts in the shops, but also available nationwide in specialty shops, grocery stores. We've got our classic, which is the Pacific Sea Salt caramel sauce. That's this one. Our caramel sauces are made the old school method, in a dry burned in a big copper kettle. So it's a much darker, richer caramel sauce, a little smokier. We also have a vegan version that we make with coconut milk, which is actually quite delicious, really smooth. Love this one. This is our dark chocolate sauce, which is just organic cocoa powder, water, organic cane sugar, salt, and vanilla. So small ingredient list, really good clean ingredients, but it's a really, really great product. Makes the best hot cocoa you've ever
No
had.
dairy.
No dairy.
You just stirred in the hot milk?
No dairy. Oh, you stir it
for
into
hot
steamed
cocoa.
milk. Yeah, it's really delicious. Great on ice cream, obviously. And then this one's my favorite. This is our rye whiskey caramel that we make with Old Overholt rye whiskey. The shop just steams up with this wonderful boozy smell when that's being cooked. So
One for the chef, one for the pot.
Exactly.
Well, this is the time. I'm sorry, Pam.
No, I think the interaction of the rye whiskey and chocolate is probably
Oh,
Yeah.
the two
engaging.
together
Yeah.
is really delicious. Yeah.
So I know you want to sell sauces, of course, but
Sure.
also this is the time of year for people to be making desserts at home.
Yeah.
So can you talk people at home how to make their own caramel sauce and maybe then flavor it with other things?
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't recommend a novice try the dry burned method. At home, I would say do the wet method. And that's just where you're going to take your sugar, add a bit of water until it's the texture of quicksand. And then you're going to just simply cook it on the stove. Don't stir it. Don't mess with it or it'll crystallize. Just give it time. And eventually that sugar will start to deepen into an amber color. While that sugar is cooking, you might want to be heating up some dairy. You can do it with cold dairy, but again, can be a little bit dangerous. The sugar will spatter when you add your liquid to it.
And seize. You
And
have to kind of melt it
yeah,
back down.
yeah.
And amber is on the light side of a caramel.
Yeah, and it's just kind of to your taste. If you
Yeah.
like a deeper caramel
You
sauce,
should try it. You should try it because Right.
that again, it's not for everyone.
Can we go back one more
yeah.
step, which is, are you just using regular white sugar? Are you using a different? Can you use I know butterscotch is with brown sugar, right?
Mhm.
So
You can use any granulated sugar. You
Okay.
can use brown sugar. That one tends to be a bit more finicky
Mhm.
when you're making butterscotch. It crystallizes a lot easier. We use cane sugar. Same thing. Really, any sugar once applied to heat will eventually caramelize. So give it time, and then you're going to add some cream to that. Maybe a little knob of butter. Add some richness, and then salt and vanilla is just what I add to a basic caramel sauce. But from there, you can add.
so
spirits.
now we have caramel sauce.
Now we have caramel sauce.
We've got our cream in, our butter in. Everything is done.
Everything is done. Yeah.
I would have thought that you would have added some flavorings before that, but you add after.
At the
Yeah.
end.
Okay.
I don't want any of those flavors to sort of cook off.
right, you
know,
don't.
Yeah.
That's exactly why you put it towards the end.
Yeah.
So what's our thickness level before you start adding flavors? Are we a creme anglaise, kind of a coat of spoon, or what's our caramel?
They should coat a
thickness?
spoon,
Okay.
and that all depends on how much dairy you add to
Right.
it. So
And first, it's gonna get very liquid. It's gonna go from
And
solid
it's-
to liquid, and it's gonna look very, very liquid. And then
yes,
just leave it on the stove, bring it back to a boil slowly, and then it will go right back to its consistency.
and if your caramel seizes up, carry
Yeah.
on. Don't worry
No,
about
just
it.
keep going.
Put it back on the stove. It'll eventually
Remelt,
melt into
yeah.
something lovely.
Heat is your best friend
Heat
with
is your
caramel.
best friend and your worst
To
enemy.
clean your pan.
And
to
if you end up reducing it too much, so sometimes you got the cream in there and you're trying to remelt the sugar,
Uh-huh.
you just add more cream, right?
Mhm,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And keep in mind, it's going to be very liquidy while it's hot, and then once it sets up, it's in the refrigerator, or chills, or hits that scoop of ice cream.
Right.
It's going to turn into that gooey, viscous texture.
Okay, so now we're going to add for your old overhaul rye that you've
Mhm.
made here in the jar.
Mhm.
Now we're just going to add a tablespoon or two.
It
I mean,
depends
how
on the
much?
size batch you're making.
But it's really not more is better, right?
Yeah. I would disagree with that.
I think if you're going to call it rye whiskey caramel, you should have a good
Yeah, I'm with you. I
rye
mean,
whiskey
You wanna know the
forward
rye
flavor.
don't,
Yeah.
don't be
To
shy.
taste, though, to taste.
Don't be
Uh-huh.
shy.
Yeah,
And
I-
if you put it in, it's because you like it. It's
exactly.
like people who use Grand Marnier in sauces. I mean, don't be shy. This is your chance to show.
It's
I mean,
Christmas.
I
Let's-
used Grand Marnier cooking the other night for the first time for Pamela. I made orange crepes.
Ooh.
You
You made
Carolina.
crepes
Very
Suzette?
fiery.
Yeah,
You make
Ooh,
crepes
crepes
Suzette?
Suzette?
I sort of. They not really, but yes.
I love crepes.
But yeah, I did. I about set my kitchen on fire. The whole thing exploded on me.
It was fabulous.
Okay, so now we got our caramel. You've done rye. What are your other favorite flavors to add to caramel?
It's always a booze of some kind.
Always?
Yeah, always a booze. I like a boozy caramel. Yeah. I've done coffee caramels that are tasty, but
Do you just add a powder or espresso?
espresso,
either.
shot of
Espresso.
espresso.
Okay.
Yeah, good espresso.
So coffee caramels. Any
Yeah.
herbaceousness? What about an Amaro caramel?
Oh, that sounds really good.
It
Yeah.
I'm gonna
because
steal
I
that
like the idea
Yeah.
of the bitter along with the sweet.
Yep.
You can
Okay.
use, I've used in the past those Reglis, how do you say that in licorice
Uh-huh.
sticks,
hmm
and you cut them in half and you put them in your
Oh,
caramel at the end, and you cook it very gently, so it basically releases the anise flavor. I love anise flavor,
Yeah.
and it makes for a very nice gentle caramel. Goes great on caramelized pear.
One of the interesting things I'm doing, I've got a sauce that's launching on a dessert today. We're doing a cranberry orange caramel. And what I've done is I pulled back some of the dairy and added some fresh squeezed orange juice,
Yeah.
heated that, and heated a bag of cranberries in with that dairy and let that heat until the cranberries pop and leach out some of their juice. Then I add that to my caramelized sugar, and
Okay.
it creates this beautiful rust colored dessert that actually has it's got a nice fruity flavor as well. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Cranberries are a funny thing. You know, I just made a little cranberry sauce for my duck confit today
Uh-huh.
that I'm serving with balsamic vinegar and cranberries. I
Yeah.
mean, just the two ingredients. Yeah.
Love
That
it.
sounds fabulous.
Cranberries are underrated, in my opinion.
I have a bag in my fridge ready to use. I'm gonna do that this weekend.
Well, Brittany, if somebody wants to come see you, and
Mm-hmm.
can they watch you make a caramel sauce?
I don't actually make the sauce. We have a head sauce maker
Oh,
who does all
okay.
the
All right.
caramels, and it's
Oh, the truth comes out.
yeah, and they're in like a hairnet, and
Okay,
you know,
so you
They're,
can't.
Yeah.
they're
go
in a,
on.
they're in a big
you
I
bag.
wasn't
can't stop
sure-
by and watch it being done.
I thought there was a window to the kitchen back there.
There is,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be quite honest with you, Tom. I don't do a lot of production there. I'm most of my time in the kitchen
Oh.
is spent doing just R&D and then little bits. If somebody called out, you can certainly find me in there. But
Right.
I'm normally sitting in the window in Ballard at a laptop. So
She's a
Yeah.
big wig now.
yeah.
Oh, I see that.
I love
that.
being able to actually get back in the kitchen. To be honest.
When we come
Cogs
back,
is
she
not
wants
as
to
fun.
talk about her new menu that's launching today.
Oh,
So-
okay, good. So we'll do that when we come back. On Cairo, it's more with Brittany Bartolabin on the Hot Stove Society Show 97.3 FM.
Okay, we're gonna taste the sauces in the sanitary way.
That means you're all using your finger.
Double dipping. No double dipping.
Hand sanitary way means you use your finger.
Right. What do you guys have there? Oh, I'm good.
It's a vol au vent of butternut squash and roasted fennel.
Is that from the bakery?
No, that's from them.
Oh.
I don't know if it's made at the
These
bakery. No, I think
shows
Annie
are
makes
well catered now.
it. Annie, oh yeah. Annie makes it. Chef Annie, did you make you made those, right? Yeah.
Hey, Annie, what kind of canned pumpkin did you use?
I did not. You could, although they should carry it here, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I think you need to say that again.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Brittany? Brittany, what were you saying?
I think we're about to open them up.
I heard.
Yeah.
You said you should carry them.
Stop by either of the shops. We open at 4, but if you just say you want retail, we can certainly sell you something retail. Yeah. Yeah, they've been in my car, so they're
really
they're
cold.
they're really chilled.
I want to pop them in.
I just want a big spoonful of the rice.
It's really good in your coffee. Yeah.
A little bit.
All right. We're back with Brittany Bartolome. Before we get going, you were the most competitive Tasty Trivia
Oh, yeah.
player. Are you staying for trivia?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would
Okay,
not
good.
miss it.
Oh, this is going to be like the old days.
The old days, exactly.
All right. So, we've found out a little bit about Brittany. You are working at Hotcakes. You really don't do much, is what I heard. I heard you say in the last segment.
See how it get transmitted?
My translation skills are awesome. Yeah, it's hard to make caramel sauce when you're on a computer.
It is.
But
yeah.
no, so you're working at Hotcakes.
Mhm.
You're loving it. You're going to open a new shop in the Urban Works down there,
Mhm.
the old Rainier Brewery, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what Urban Works is?
No, so it's
What's Urban Works?
No.
Soto Urban Works. It's
First Avenue
Oh,
South.
the one
First
on
Avenue
First.
South.
the old
It's
catering
mostly
space.
tasting rooms there. San Juan Seltzery's there. And
It used to be a
and
brewery.
It needs a brewery there. If you ask, there's a lot of
I
wine
thought
there.
there was one coming there.
Yeah, so we just took over one of the wineries was a wine production area that we took over. So and we're partnering up with Bluebird Ice Cream as well. We'll be sharing that production space with them as well. So they're buddies of ours. They do all of our ice creams at our shops for us. So
Cool.
yeah.
So you have a new menu coming up?
New menu launches today, actually. It's our winter menu. We do 4 seasonal menus every year. It's really different from any job I've had in my past lives where it's like, I feel like putting something on the menu, so I'll do it. Whereas at Hotcakes, it's no, there's a schedule to follow. You have to have your cogs done by this time. You have your copy written by this time. The photo shoot. It's just it's a big to do.
Sounds like
So,
the
yeah.
sounds
It's
like
not
the
Chef
airport.
Brittany's fresh sheet, but like what I used to do at the Dahlia, yeah, where it's like I feel like doing this tonight. Okay, I will. So yeah,
Now you go home and do that at home.
yeah. Chef Brittany's fresh sheet every night at home. Exactly.
My guess is they probably make money that way.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems
sounds
to be
like a real
working. So
business.
yeah.
So what's on the new menu? What's,
So tonight big one is we're launching mac and cheese. This is
Wow.
kind of
That's an
cool
interesting
aspect
take.
of this job is I also get to do savory things and the coffee menu and cocktails. Another thing I've never been able to do in my past life. So we're launching macaroni and cheese, which is my favorite thing on the menu. I've eaten a lot of mac and cheese last month. I got
Wow.
it dialed in.
What's special about your mac cheese?
It's just really good. It's just classic gooey. Cheesy. Got a Parmesan-y breadcrumb topping. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel with anything
You
there.
didn't
It's a-
put any.
Cheetos?
You didn't put
no,
any
no
grated
Cheetos.
on
You
top?
know me well because I thought about it. I actually thought about potato chips. No, it's a 3-cheese blend: Gruyere, Beecher's Flagship, and just Parmesan.
Uh-huh.
Nice corkscrew pasta and a breadcrumb topping, and it's got that nice cheesy pull. And yeah,
Cool.
but we've also got a winter fruit crisp. We always try and use fruits from our friends at Collins Family Orchard. So we're using their Bosque pears and cranberries, and we've got a lovely gluten-free almond streusel on top of there.
Nice.
We have a lovely lemon cream cake. So it's just tender lemon cake with lemon curd filling that we're doing with a pink grapefruit gel and a little lemon thyme. It's just a nice bright spot on an otherwise very
And I,
That's
rich
what I
and
would come for.
spicy
That's right
menu.
up my alley.
Yeah.
and I know you must have a chocolate thing.
We've got a whole menu of molten chocolate cakes. So I don't do this fall menu. I did have a German chocolate tart on the menu, but I don't fool with the chocolate for the seasonal desserts too much.
Right.
We've got a boozy ginger snap milkshake. It's a bourbon ginger snap milkshake. That's another one of my favorites to do is the boozy
Oh.
milkshakes. We've got sort of a twist
so what do
on
you do with that? Do you grind up sugar snaps into it, or what do you?
We took our Pacific sea salt caramel sauce, added honey, maple syrup, and then a slew of spices. So we just add that to
So it's
our
just ginger.
fresh ginger juice as
And
well.
the snap is really the
Yeah,
snap from the
We're
juice.
also garnishing with ginger snap cookie
Okay.
crumbs.
Mhm.
And then we've got a nice twist on a Manhattan. We're calling it the witching hour. So that's classic Manhattan ingredients, bourbon, bitters. We've got a rye whiskey rinse. And then we're sweetening that with just a little bit of a spicy brown sugar simple syrup. It's really delicious.
Nice.
Mulled wine. We got a boozy eggnog.
So you have a bar and you have the whole thing. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Chef,
Yeah.
would you have mulled wine or boozy eggnog first? I'm not a mulled wine
I think I'd
person.
have boozy eggnog
Yeah,
if
me
it's
too.
done right. It's really
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah. Mulled wine for me, it's almost more about the making it than it is the drinking
Yeah.
it. The kitchen just smells
The smell of it.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
warming up the kitchen.
Christmas every year at my house, my mom would always have a pot of mulled wine on the stove, and nobody ever drank it. It was almost just there.
It's just, yeah, I just is
It's our
No,
not.
potpourri.
we-
Yeah.
we
It's
actually
like, what
had-
do you do with old bad wine? Oh, let's put a bunch of spices in it.
Exactly.
And some,
So you can't
and
taste
some
it.
sugar.
Yeah.
You put sugar too.
Now your eggnog, some fancy eggnog people fold in whipped
Yeah.
egg whites, or they put a little kind of like meringue. What's the cooked meringue?
French meringue.
French meringue.
French
I'm
meringue.
not
That's
fancy.
poached.
No, you're not fancy.
No,
No.
no.
French
It's
meringue,
just
that's poached. It's floating island.
Floating island.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Oh,
you see eggnog
il
with.
est flottante.
Il
Yeah.
I did
flottante.
that for a wine dinner at the Dahlia one time. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Il flottante. It's a
Yeah.
classic.
I know, but
Drizzle with
all I
caramel.
was saying was in eggnog. Sometimes you see big chunks of meringue
Yeah, you
floating
do.
in it
Right,
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Not my eggnog.
No.
It just add. It does have 3 different kinds of booze in it though. So
Are you just buying eggnog, or are you
No,
making?
no, we're making it's egg yolks, cream, milk.
Eggnog is
sugar,
crème anglaise.
spices.
It's easy.
And then
It's
yeah, we add,
easier to buy it by the quart.
No, it's not as good. The problem is it's not
There's
as good.
easy and there's easier.
I keep a quart of it. Stored
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
refrigerator, but yeah, we're adding rum, bourbon, and cognac to our
Whew.
eggnog. It should
Wait a
come with
minute.
a
I'm
warning
counting
label.
down to this one. That sounds delicious.
So when you used to work with us,
Mhm.
you were the Girl Scout cookie maven,
Yeah.
making oddball desserts out of
Yes.
Girl Scout cookies,
Yeah.
or in similar nature. What's your latest Girl Scout creation?
This last year, what did I do? They had a new one that was like a they've got a new cookie. It's a chocolate cookie with like a toffee. It's almost looks
Wow.
like a thumbprint with a toffee center.
Huh.
And I did a milkshake with it,
Wow.
a smoked chocolate milkshake with it. So
And I also remember you have a bit of a finicky eater. Not finicky is the wrong word,
it's
but
just the
challenge,
allergens.
the
Yes,
allergen.
yes, eggs and dairy.
What are you doing
allergen.
these days? Any new ideas for kids that have allergies?
I've
that are
discovered a
kinda
really
clean?
solid vegan butter at Trader Joe's. It's
Uh-huh.
just there. It's just vegan butter, and I made cinnamon rolls with it when it snowed a couple of weeks ago. And my husband, who will tell me quite honestly what he thinks of anything I make.
Yeah, I got my
You ever
wife.
smack
My
him
wife
upside
does
the
the
head?
same thing.
yeah, yeah. And he said I couldn't tell the difference that these were not vegan. So since I found this butter, I've just gone crazy. And,
So no flour. What do you use for flour?
Oh, he can have flour. Good
Oh,
old
I thought
flour.
you said no gluten.
No,
sorry.
oh no eggs, no dairy. So
okay.
yeah. Well, thank God he can have flour.
Yeah.
And do we know what the what this quote unquote butter is made out of?
No, I didn't even look at the ingredient. World's best mom. I
No,
saw vegan.
it's
That's
like-
great.
it's like this.
Trust Trader
Go ahead,
Joe's.
honey.
Listen.
Trader Joe made it. Must
Should
be good.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trader Joe made it. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uncle Trader Joe made it.
Wow. Anything else you're excited about?
Oh, baking for Christmas. What's
yeah.
your
Oh,
Christmas,
Christmas.
dessert?
You know, our Yule logs this year
They
sold
look
out
great.
like.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, do you? I don't. I
Yeah.
always remember them not selling out, but this year they
Oh.
sold like crazy.
I remember differently. I remember them selling out.
Most amount of.
That's because you never made it.
Yeah.
You
I
were
never had to
you
make
were the
it.
guy
I remember
behind the
closing
computer.
my eyes and seeing Yule logs for
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I trust your memory more.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
that, you old pot. What's the most amount of Yule logs you ever made?
The most amount?
Yeah,
Oh, God,
like in one for one like Christmas holiday.
that I personally ever made,
our
like at the
our
Dahlia.
company, yeah.
Oh, I think we did 60 of them
Oh,
in
okay.
2019.
So you're
But
exaggerating.
it's been
just
a
little
minute.
bit, yeah.
I probably padded those numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah. We did 150 in one night.
Yeah. exactly. Well, you got to remember you've got a bunch of other stuff you're doing at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Along with
the tarts and all the
pies
things.
and-
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have to mess with the pies. Thank you, Westlake Bakery.
Yeah.
60 log in one night is a lot of logs.
It was never. Oh, well,
Maybe for
that's
it.
the beauty of Yule logs is you can sort of
you can step it.
assemble, put it in the freezer, and like assemble the big log and then cut
Right.
them. Yeah,
Finish it as you need it.
Pies aren't as forgiving.
So is that your trick to keep them together? Is you make the jelly roll with the mousse in it, and then you slice them and put them in shape, and then put them in the freezer, or do you?
I
put
would
them
just
in
do
the
the big roll, put it in the freezer, and then when you're getting ready to put the frosting on the outside, that's when you pull it out, cut it, put its little stump on top.
Yeah.
and then
Right.
frost
Yeah,
it.
finish it the day you need it. So
And
it's
the
a
magic
nice-
mushrooms on top.
And the magic mushrooms.
Exactly.
That's another one that can be done in advance, which I love. And the sparkly cranberries and rosemary. And yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so it's time for us to dream about thrashing you in Rub with Love tasty trivia.
Love it.
And you, if I remember right, are you're very confident.
Yeah.
Her and
in our
Bridget are
trivia
probably
game.
the highest.
Yeah.
And
Their
Annie,
confidence
Annie
level?
is-
Bridget has more right answers than me, but I've got more confidence.
Yeah, you're loud and dogmatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
I
exactly.
love it.
So when we come back, I mean, it's not like I lack confidence.
No, I mean, you like competition.
When we come back, you can come back and join us and watch us thrash
Sounds
Brittany
good.
Bartoleben
Sounds good. We'll see.
in the
We'll see
Rub
what
with Love
happens.
Food for Thought Tasty Trivia Challenge on Cairo Radio, Hot Stove Society Show.
Oh
keeping
my! I got the
does
score
keep
sheet
score.
ready.
Yep.
How's everybody? Hanging in there? Putting up with their monkey business?
You guys have any questions? Hello, hello. You guys left the room.
Okay, so let's call off our sauces, and you can tell Brittany what you like the best and what really stunk.
Yeah.
All right, so who liked the vegan caramel the best?
Oh!
Who liked the salted caramel the best?
Wow!
Wow.
Most everyone.
Who liked the rye caramel? Oh, so the same. You like them the same. Yeah. And then what was the last one? The chocolate. Who liked the chocolate the best? Really good.
I know. We don't jar that one, unfortunately, but yeah. I know.
For you to be the judge.
We're not judging. We're just going to.
Oh, I like that booze.
The boozy. Yeah, that one's
Yeah,
good.
that one.
It's not useless.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, when they cook that one, you almost get like your nostrils burning a little bit from the boozy flavor.
Well done.
Mm.
What does a jar retail for?
Depends on which one you're going for. The sea salt one and the dark chocolate are $12 retail. The vegan is $14 and the rye whiskey is $16.
And do you heat them in a
Double boiler, microwave. Yeah, they're pretty forgiving. However you want to heat them up. Yeah.
I'm the rye caramel.
Met Market, PCC, Safeway, QFC, our website. Yeah, anywhere. A lot of retail shops around town carry them. So,
Hotcakes.
a lot of bakeries around town. Yeah, yeah.
Get 'em. Come get your hot.
Come get your hotcakes.
All right, let's wrap this up with a bang, okay? Shall we?
Shall.
Shall we?
Shall. Okay.
All right, it's time for Food for Thought Tasty Trivia brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs. Rub with Love spices can liven up your pantry as well as your holiday gifting. We have cool gift packs this year. Just so you know, Chef Terry, in case you want to purchase anything
already
from
bought one.
my website. You can find it locally in grocery stores like Town and Country Markets, QFC, PCC, or your favorite butcher shops like Don and Joe's here in the Pike Place Market, Double A Meats in Tacoma, or our entire line of deliciousness you can visit at the Hot Stove Society, Seatown Market and Fish Fry, or right here, Serious Pie in Ballard, where we make them. So get out there and get your Rub with Love. I'm using it today. I'm using the taco spice today. on shrimp.
sounds
as
He
I
makes
told
so
great
good.
stuff.
Yeah, wood oven sear on shrimp. Shrimp.
Great
Prawns.
gift.
Prawns, shrimp.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
in the wood oven.
Pamela, we have a victim in front of us, Brittany Bartolaban, future victim in front of us. Will you tell her how to play the game and who's our lucky winner today? I don't think we had a winner last week.
No, I'm not into it anymore.
I like that. I'm not into it anymore.
Sorry, team. Sorry, folks in the audience. Pam's not into it anymore.
Each of my fine contestants is getting 5 questions, but I'm in a really benevolent mood. And I
Ooh,
want everyone.
Because that usually costs me money.
I know. Do I have to raise my paddle? Sounds like an auction.
No, so the questions are so easy today because I want all 3
Oh,
of you
don't say that ahead
to
of time.
shine.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And they're
man.
all themed to baking
Oh, yeah,
in
it's
honor
really
Ah.
They're all into baking.
of Bartolome.
They're all based on the hot cake menu. What's in the soup? Oh, great.
Caramel sauce.
Go ahead. I'll start.
Terry. What television show challenges home bakers to create delicious desserts and breads in a series of head-to-head challenges? Would you like multiple choice?
Yes,
or
please.
Chopped, The Great British Bake Off, The Amazing Bake, or The Baking Wars?
I'm gonna go with the English one.
It's actually Chopped because there's a difference in the way the
Wait,
two
you said
series-
baking.
Yeah,
Chopped does baking too.
they do baking too because of the way the competition
Sometimes they even
is.
do bacon.
They usually do a dessert course. I
Never
believe.
mind.
Yeah.
I won't challenge that.
Told
Told you it wasn't that easy, right?
That one is confusing because of the way both contests are
Right.
run. So it was kind of a trick question. Number 2, in the process of cake baking, which of the following is not a raising agent? Steam, yeast, powdered sugar, baking powder.
Sugar.
Correct. Number 3, a vanilla sponge cake sandwiched with jam and cream filling is named after which British monarch? Would you like multiple choice?
Oh,
Sure.
for crying out
I'm
loud.
gonna listen to them.
Elizabeth I, Elizabeth II, Victoria, or George V?
I'm gonna go with Elizabeth because she's the most common one.
It's 1 or 2.
Who is it?
It's
Brit-
Victoria.
It's Victoria.
Okay. See, did you guys know this in the audience? You knew that? No one else did. I mean, what kind of questions are
I
these? It's
didn't-
supposed to be
okay.
easy. I mean, 1 out of 100 is not easy.
Try this one.
Okay.
The classic chocolate brownie consists of butter, sugar, chocolate, flour, and what other ingredient?
I'm gonna go with baking something. Baking soda or baking powder? One of the two. Wait, you said sugar, chocolate, butter.
Oh, we had
She
butter.
said butter.
Ah,
Butter,
man.
sugar, chocolate.
You should join the show
flour.
sometime.
Wait, let her talk. Butter, sugar. Oh, eggs.
Yes.
Thank
It
you.
took a while, but he
That's-
got
he
there.
got there.
I got to it.
What baking technique breaks up lumps in flour to get a more accurate measurement? Would you like multiple choice?
Yes.
Whisking, separating, mixing, or sifting?
So what mix? Repeat
What
the
breaks
question.
up the flour chunks?
What breaks out the flour chunks? Sifting.
Yes. Not bad. Was that 3 out of 5?
Yes, not bad for easy questions. When will I ever get to 5 out of 5?
All right.
Brittany, your turn.
My
Hmm.
turn.
Now we're going to
Yeah. Watch they're like really hard.
accordion play.
I feel like I want to switch places with Brittany because I bet the Pamela's set this up.
In what temperature range is it ideal for dry active yeast to proof, bloom, and multiply? 105 to 110, we're talking Fahrenheit. 85 to 90, 115 to 120, 145 to 150.
I know the answer.
You know the answer?
I know the answer.
I would go with the first one you said. 10. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
starts-
it's 105,
That's
105
yeah,
to 110
Ooh, nice.
for dry active yeast.
Yeah.
to
I'm glad
proof.
that wasn't my question.
yeah.
What famous pastry has a crescent shape and is made by layering butter and folding dough several times in succession.
You don't mean croissant, do you?
Did you just answer my question?
Why is he answering your question?
It's a croissant.
You're correct.
I think that's called mansplaining.
Yeah, it's mansplained pastry to me, Terry.
Number
the
three.
best one, the best ever.
What nostalgic cookie was first baked by Ruth Wakefield in 1938 at the Toll House restaurant in
I
Massachusetts?
believe that would be the Toll House chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, correct.
You are killing me right now.
What is a special feature of a convection oven that helps cookies and cakes bake more evenly?
It's the heat. It's the air.
The air.
Air.
That's what
Yeah,
we're looking
yeah,
for.
yeah.
Air, circulating air.
Circulating air.
I mean, those are easy questions.
Oh, come on.
How many of you knew all the answers of all the questions so far? Most of the people. Thank you very much.
In bread making, what is the process of folding and pressing dough to create gluten and elasticity?
Oh.
Kneading.
Yay! And the
Five
winner
out of
is-
six out of 5.
Our guests get treated really well around
She
here.
got 6 out of 5. That's
Yes.
a good one.
Tom Douglas. What type of sugar contains the most molasses? Do you want multiple choice?
Brown sugar.
You're right. Number 2. What is
Does
the-
dark brown sugar have more molasses in it or light brown sugar?
Dark
Mm,
brown sugar. has more
Ooh, you might have
molasses
I don't
stuck
think.
something
I think
somewhere.
it's the same. I think it's the color of the molasses.
Oh. What is the process in pie baking called when the crust is baked on its own without the filling?
Oh.
Do you want it docked or undocked?
No.
Blind baking.
Yeah.
I was
What?
just showing my prowess.
Yeah.
No,
I saw that. I saw that.
Docking.
I saw that, Tom. I saw that. That was very cool.
What
I should get
popular
2 points for that.
Italian dessert made with coffee and lady fingers
Tiramisu.
translates to carry me up?
A boy named Sue.
You are an overachiever.
Who's Johnny Cash sang that song, right?
What is the more common name for sodium bicarbonate, which is often used as in baking as a leavening agent?
I even know that.
Do you? You want to help me because you told you want to mansplain
Baking
to me?
soda.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And finally,
Baking soda.
what common dessert and pie topping is created by beating together egg whites and sugar?
Cool Whip. Meringue.
Brittany's the winner!
Meringue.
Not even. I don't think that's even
There's,
egg
nothing,
white.
there's no natural ingredient in there. That's in a that's
5.5 out of 5.
uh,
You get 1.5 for one.
That's
quiz.
in the Rich's warehouse in Buffalo, New York. Is where Cool Whip is.
Thank you
Uh,
for trouncing them, Brittany
Oh,
Bartolome.
not well. To be fair, Tom also trounced.
To
Yeah.
be fair,
Yeah.
To be fair,
uh,
only me.
You said you didn't have
exactly.
thank you, Brittany Bartolome. And if you
Thank
want to be part of
you.
the show, you can watch the taping on YouTube at Tom Douglas and Company, or buy a ticket to come and be here in person, like this lovely audience did
Yeah.
today. You're listening to us on Cairo. The show is produced by Pamela Hinckley. Sound and production by Sean McFadden. And our editor is Sean, don't call me Del Torre. Also, remember, if you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show on 97.3 FM, you can listen via podcast. Just subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening and have a fabulous weekend.
All right, nice job. Okay, quiet on the set, please, including Chef Annie. Quiet on the set, please. That includes you. Hey, I'm Tom Douglas.
And I'm Terry Roturo, the chef in a hat.
This afternoon on the Hot Stove Society show, we talk about Brittany Bartolome, pastry chef at the Hot Cakes, and shares her. I have to do that again. This afternoon on the Hot Stove Society show, we talk to Brittany Bartolome, pastry chef at Hot Cakes, and she shares her new holiday menu ideas. Great ideas for shrimp dinners when you are skimpy on prep time. And Kent Bakke, the originator of LaMazocco espresso machines here in the USA, fills us in on a new coffee museum in Ballard.
It's a wrap.